you turn the page, it's chapter 5. Yeah. It's his first public sermon. Guess where it took place? Tell your neighbor we're here.
We're here.
This is where he pronounced what I'm about to read. It was right here he began to talk to the people. They gathered, sitting on the hills. Look at the view that they saw. That was a big view that day. He's 30 years old, so they will listen to him now. He's qualified. He's dressed very simple, like just normal person. He looks like it's normal. They also know his parents. That's Joseph's boy. But that day was a different day. He began something that hasn't ended yet. We're still trying to recover from what he began to say. His first statement that day, I'm going to read for you chapter 4, verse 23. And Jesus went about all Galilee, teaching in their synagogues, preaching the gospel of the kingdom. That's verse 23. And healing all kinds of disease and sickness among the people. No wonder why they came to hear him that day, because he began to become their hospital.
Right.
If somebody took away your AIDS and your tuberculosis and your cancer, I think you want to go listen to that.
Yeah.
If someone saved your grandmother from arthritis or healed your father from blindness, I think you want to go and listen to that person. No wonder why they came. Look at verse 24. And his fame went throughout all Syria.
Yeah.
Syria is right up north. From here. That means they begin to talk about this 30-year-old young man who's not just working miracles, but he's teaching a message about a new government, a new culture, a new economy, a new kingdom. Next verse says, they brought to him all sick people who were afflicted with various disease. Verse 24. And he healed them all. Here's a list. They were possessed with demons, epileptic, paralytic. What kind of sickness you got today? It can be healed right here on the mountain.
Amen.
2,000 years ago, you can get yours today.
Amen.
As a matter of fact, we make an announcement. Today is your day.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank
It
you.
can happen then on this mountain. It can happen on this mountain today.
Amen.
So believe while you're here to receive your healing from high blood pressure and arthritis, kidney problems, cancer cells. Let them die right here.
In the name of
He
Jesus.
healed them all, it says. Verse 25. Great multitudes followed him. From Galilee, they came. And from Decapolis, remember the cities we talked about now? They came down here. Thousands. They also came from Jerusalem. Boy, that's a long walk. They heard about this young Jewish guy, 30 years old. It says they came from Judea. That's the desert part. And beyond the Jordan. That means they came from, there's Jordan over there. That's Jordan. That's the country of Jordan over there. They came on boats. They heard. There's a young man over there healing people, teaching about the country. The next verse is chapter 5. And seeing the multitudes, wow. He's standing there with Peter, James, and John, who he just caught fish for. It says, standing there, he went up on a mountain. See that? He didn't start in the boat. He came up when he saw the amount of people. He went up on a mountain, and when he was seated, his disciples came to him. He opened his mouth. Happened right here.
Oh my God.
And he taught them. He began to teach them. Listen for a second in silence. Hear his voice. Wow. He was here. This way he spoke these words. This is the mountain. This is the one that they had archaeological markings where they kept this place sacred because they remember it was on this mountain, right where you are, and he began his message. by the way, in those days, the teacher sat and the students stood. Did you know that? The classes were reversed. In our classes, the teacher stands, the students sit. In those days, the teacher sat, the students stood. So when he sat, they knew it was time for class. So he sat, maybe on a rock, wherever you are, and began to say, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for to them belongs the kingdom of God."
Yes.
They were oppressed by the Romans. They hated the oppression of the Romans. They wanted a new government so bad. They knew that they were oppressed. So he began by saying, there's a new country here. You can now rejoice. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, because to you belong the kingdom of God. I wonder why they came closer. Wow. And then he says, blessed are those who mourn, who are praying and hoping for a better future, mourning the pressures of oppression. He says, blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Verse 4. Verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. By the way, most religious people have been thinking, if you stay meek, you'll inherit heaven. He did not promise that. The word meek does not mean weak. The word meek means, look at me carefully, controlled strength. It's impossible to be meek if you're not strong.
That's right.
Meekness means a person who got power, but it's under control. That's why we call him meek. He got the power to destroy everything, but he controls the power and wields everything.
That's right.
If you are self-disciplined, he says, blessed are those who control the power, control the desire to destroy, including their own selves. Meek, you shall inherit what? Real estate. You know why some of you ain't got no real estate? Because you buy shoes you don't need,
My
cars you
God.
can't afford. You rent in places where you know you can't upkeep the rent, but you try to keep up with the Joneses. You're out of control. Blessed are the meek, those who got money, but they don't spend it on foolishness. It takes control to not buy a fashion that just came out. Because you want to put in the bank to buy a piece of property. Blessed are those who are under control, he says, for they shall inherit real estate.
Wow.
The only estate that is real in life is property. So stop buying cars you can't afford.
Amen.
That's not real estate. Stop buying clothes you don't need.
Amen.
Be meek. Meek means you can rape a woman, but instead of raping her, you protect her. You use your strength to protect her. You don't take advantage of a woman that you take her on a date. If you take advantage of the weak, you are not meek.
That's right.
You are weak.
That's right. Amen.
To take
Amen.
advantage of the poor who can't help themselves. Politicians do it all the time. These are not weak people. These are weak people.
That's right.
If you can't control your power, you are weak. Blessed are the meek. They shall inherit the earth. Number 6. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are those who what? Desire to live according to God's law. They shall be fulfilled. Everything they need, they shall have. Blessed are number 7. Blessed are those who are merciful. He said that here, you know. I can imagine those religious leaders walking around, or maybe the soldiers, you know, in the street watching this young guy in case he causes any revolution. They got their spears from the Roman army. And they hear him say, blessed are the merciful. Have mercy on these people. Don't abuse them. Not because you could, you should. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. The day will come and you're going to need someone to be merciful to you. So be nice to people while you're on this trip. You don't know when you're going to need someone to help you in the next couple of days. So help someone. Have mercy. Be merciful. Someone may not have money to buy something. Tell them I'll buy it for you. Have mercy. And before you leave, someone will buy you something. Everybody goes broke sometime, believe me. So when you have, share with those who don't have. He said these words right here. Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God. Can I put it another way? Blessed are those who got pure thoughts, your hearts in your head, for they shall see God in everything.
Yes, Lord. So good. That's so
If your
good.
mind is clean, you'll always see God in everything.
That's right.
If your mind is pure, you don't see a woman undressed in your mind, or a man undressed in your mind. You see God's image in it.
That's right.
Blessed are those who are pure in mind, for they see God in the trees and the flowers. Number 9, blessed are the peacemakers. Those who keep breaking up fights. Those who would rather compromise than fight. Those who would say, okay, you're right. Walk away. Blessed are the peacemakers, those who don't want to get their right all the time. I have a right. No, I'm a peacemaker. I will give my rights to keep peace.
Right.
Blessed are those who bring peace, he said.
Amen.
I know you've been abused. I know that you have a right to get things, but sometimes you let people have it. Just to keep peace in the house. I discovered years ago that the most powerful way to win any argument, that's why I don't win any enemies, you know. I know how to win an argument. Write this down. The secret to winning an argument is simply 2 letters. Okay. Say it. Okay. Jesus said, agree with your adversary quickly while you are in relationship with them. It doesn't mean that they may be right, but just agree with them. Keep the peace. A guy came to me one time, he says, look, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God. What do you say?
Okay.
I said, okay. And he sat there and looked at me for 2 minutes, didn't know what to say. He was ready for a fight. He was ready for an argument. I simply agreed with him. I said, okay. So you believe in God? Okay. I was a peacemaker. That was 10 years ago. That guy is now a member of our church. Write this down. Remember this as long as you live. A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still.
That's right. That's right.
When you win an argument, you always lose a friend.
That's right.
Be a
Amen.
peacemaker. You wives and husbands, listen to me. It ain't worth fighting, okay? If your wife says she's right, tell her. You're right, baby. You're okay. You know she's wrong, but just tell her she's right.
Amen.
That's why I say peacemaker.
Peacemaker.
Be a peacemaker.
Hallelujah.
You know, one of the young men comes on the bus. Asked Ezra. How long you been married? Okay, so Ezra. And one of the young men asked Ezra. I was sitting there. He said, "What's the secret to a long marriage?" And Ezra used one word: compromise. That means keep the peace. Don't always want to be right.
That's right.
It ain't worth it. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be what? Called the children of God. These people are always keeping peace. You know, the Israelis here have enemies all around them. And when I first came here in 1978, I was shocked to discover that there were Palestinians working, getting jobs, feeding their families from the economy of Israel that was being built. And they're still doing it. How can you feed your own enemy? How can you do good to those who want you to go into the ocean? Peacemakers. taught by Jesus. Number 10, he said, blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. What is righteousness? Lining yourself up with the laws of God.
Right.
He said, when you start to obey God, people will persecute you.
Yep.
They think you're stupid. They think you're crazy. They would criticize you. He said, blessed are those who are trying to live righteous. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake. For theirs is the kingdom of God. In other words, the way you prove that you are from another country is by the culture you create through the laws you obey. Culture is a product of law. I'm going to say it again. Culture is a product of laws. When you obey laws, you develop a culture. And your culture tells people what country you are from. Your culture is how you dress, how you talk, how you think, how you live, how you respond to life. Your culture should tell me where you're from. You know, one of my friends here, he started to speak Spanish right away. I knew that he wasn't from the Bahamas. Your language will give you away. When I saw the people dressed from Papua New Guinea, right away I knew they're not from the Bahamas. Your culture tells us you're from another place. He said, blessed are those who will live righteously because they will identify as people from heaven.
That's good.
The folks on earth, well, they live a certain culture. We're supposed to represent the culture of heaven. He closes his sermon by saying this. Blessed are you when men revile you, persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you. Can you imagine talking to peasants here who were oppressed by the Romans? The Romans saw them as dogs and second-class citizens. But also some of the Jews saw the Samaritans as dogs. Everybody got racism problems. He says, look, blessed are those when men revile you. Revile you. Who do you think you are? You're less than us. You're supposed to always sweep the floor. You're supposed to be our maids and our servants. He said, blessed are those who are persecuted and reviled and say all evil against you. Verse 12, rejoice, he says, and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven.
Yes, God.
Don't always try to fight back.
That's right.
Love back.
That's right. Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Yes, God.
Don't fight back. Forgive back. That's what this mountain is about. You know, these statements, every government should write down as laws. These statements, every family should use them as a guide. These statements, every businessman should use them in his company.
Ah,
These statements, every married couple should use them for their marriage. And the people said, where did this man come from? It's such a thought. We've never heard someone talk like this. They couldn't believe he didn't graduate from their schools. His wisdom made so much sense. It was so practical and yet so appropriate. And those words are still echoing through these hills right now.
yes, Jesus.
They're still the same. I want you to bow your heads for a moment. Because many of the people who are under those trees were weeping when they heard this beautiful sermon. They must have said to themselves, wow, there's hope. This young man is telling us there's another government, another country, another economy, another culture that I can be a part of. I can be born into this culture. I can be born again. Father, thank you today. That we don't need to depend on our country's economy or the culture of our people, but we can be translated into another kingdom. Let your kingdom come and your will be done here today, just like it is in heaven, where there's no corruption, no fear, no war, no hatred. But in your country there's peace, love, and joy in your Holy Spirit. Let that same culture come upon everyone here right now. We become representatives of heaven and earth. Your heads bowed right now. I want to use this moment just to ask you, if you'd like to rededicate your life to Him 100%. Maybe you've never done it before at this level. Maybe you've been playing around trying to figure out life. I believe that this moment is for you. If you'd like to recommit yourself to the Lord Jesus who gave us life, He died in your place. He took the bullet. He went to the electric chair in your place. I think if someone died for you, you owe them your life. If you want to rededicate yourself to Him and give your life to Him, your heads bowed today. I want you to just lift your right hand and say, I want to give my life to Jesus, my Lord, my King. If you want to lift your right hand, put it back down. Over there. Anyone else, please? What a place for you to give your life to Christ. One more opportunity. Rededicate your life to the truth of the Lord. Give your life to Jesus. Lift your right hand. Say yes. If you're serious about it, He will hear you. Lord, I thank you for these hands. Honest people just like Peter. Got an empty boat. Their honesty caused them to get a full boat. Thank you for being so. Thank you. You held your hand up, will you stand up, please? You held your hand up, stand up. If you held your hand up, stand up. If you held your hand up, you come and walk right here. Pray with me.
Let your will be done in my life, right here.
Forgive me
for
offending you, offending others,
and offending others.
Deliver me from evil temptation. Help me to avoid temptation. I receive your forgiveness.
All of my sin against you. In this place, I receive new life. In this day, I receive a new birth in my spirit. I am now restored to my Father. I dedicate myself to representing you from this day forward. I may have your culture. I may be an ambassador of the kingdom of heaven. In the name of Jesus, I confess Jesus is my Lord. He rose from the dead. I receive his salvation. In Jesus' name.